So I have to say something about the crazy drunk stuff for you. So you, I feel like I feel like I've seen you drink a lot of liquor, and then finally, like, it's basically the end of the night, and then I just look over and Kevin's just like, "Fuck,
Yeah.
I am fucked up right now."
Yeah. So here's the thing. I don't really enjoy the taste of alcohol. It's just like nobody does. It's just
You're not a beer guy.
no.
If you were a beer guy, you would love the taste.
Yeah, so that's kind of the crossroad that I have is like I get one or two drinks when I'm at home and I'm drinking, and it's usually like vodka and juice or vodka and Monster or Rockstar or whatever. And I fill those very full with vodka. Like the ratio is
Yeah,
like
I know you do.
50-50.
I know you do.
Just because I don't want to have a bunch of drinks. I'd rather just have one or two drinks and be just done. But
oh, totally.
when you're drinking that much that fast, it hits you really quick. And it's like, I'm not fucked up at all. And then 10 minutes later, oh God, I'm way too fucked up.
I think you need to be able to balance your alcohol to mixer ratio, because that seems like that's the root of the problem, and you can definitely fix it.
It's definitely fixable. But the biggest issue is that I don't want to drink a shit ton of Monsters.
That's true.
So it's
That's
like,
true. So it's like get drunk or have cardiac arrest and die.
yeah.
So I see the rationale in that thinking.
I'm trying to be a smart alcoholic, not one of those dumb ones.
Wicked smart, wicked cool, wicked fucking stupid, whatever the fuck. Something wicked.
I'm baking like a toasted Caesar. It's so hot here.
My boy's wicked smart.
Cause the boy is hotter than hot. He's hot, hot, hot.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Great minds think alike. Which, speaking of which, you know who doesn't think alike? It seems basically anyone when it comes to production of any movie ever, and the studio that runs it. Because this week, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Wicked Hot, by the way. Nice to have you all back with us. I don't know. That was a sweet ass transition. I have to say.
That was a good transition.
We're covering, we last week we did a separation of movies that we, were planned to come out and didn't come out. Now we're kind of doing the same thing, but for people. Because this week we have The Replacements. Now, obviously, in lieu of, there's been still a lot of talk, Kevin. There's been a lot of talk on the street, on the
On the nerd
Sunset
streets.
on the Sunset Boulevard street. There's no good Hollywood street. I don't know, Alameda. I think that's Avenue.
Hollywood
anyway.
Street? No, it's
Hollywood Boulevard. That's Hollywood.
yeah, Hollywood Boulevard.
So on the boulevard, the talk on the boulevard, on the Hollywood Boulevard. It looks like we may get more Wolverine, except it's not going to be Hugh Jackman, which begs the
Boo.
question of, that's like saying there's going to be an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie without Ewan McGregor.
Not possible.
Yeah, well, it might happen. So, which interestingly enough will come up later on. You see that little foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing.
But yeah, so in lieu of that, obviously we wanted to kind of cover just how we did last week with sequels that were never made. We're gonna have people that were never there. That's the title. Print it.
Like
but yeah.
Sixth Sense.
Basically,
This
yeah,
is a podcast about our favorite M. Night Shyamalan movies.
about my favorite Bruce Willis role, which is obviously Cop Out. But yeah, so we're gonna Kevin and I are both gonna come at you with two actual actors that were replaced in production or before production, whatever, and then two that we wished would have been replaced. Which I will say, Kevin, this was probably the hardest. I mean, out of the 2 weeks that we've been doing this, this was quite a challenge for me, specifically when it came down to choosing who I want to replace. Because as everyone kind of knows me, I'm quite a hateful person. I do hate a lot of things, but you can't really replace someone from a movie you already hate. You know, the movie is tarnished. It was difficult for me to find a good movie or a good enough movie
Yeah.
where I liked all the other characters in, but there was just that one missing piece that I wish could be replaced. And honestly, man, I drew a blank when it came to that.
I had trouble with the second one. The first one, when we were first talking about this a couple weeks ago, it clicked like immediately. I was like, that guy in that movie,
sweet.
that's who I want to replace him with. And like it hit me, so I was excited. And then when we were talking about actually doing this episode this week, I was like, I already have a leg up, and I already have half my shit done. And then I sit down to think of another one, and I'm like, huh, this is really hard.
Yeah, when it came down to, because I swear to God, when we talked about this last week too, I had the exact same mentality. I thought I'm good to go, and then I sat down on it, and it took me basically till yesterday to finish compiling, and I'm like, fuck, I was so ahead, and I just it was the last two for me that I really couldn't figure out.
Yeah. So I want to get into this because I'm excited to talk
Okay,
about
all right.
it. I'm
Okay.
really excited. Do you want to go first?
Sweet.
Go ahead.
All right, cool. So obviously, I wanted to go with something iconic. Trust me, guys, there were a lot of choices here when it came to people you could choose.
Yeah. I know
There
we're going
was
to get tons of
one-
people on Twitter saying, like,
Oh,
you should
yeah.
have done this one. But
Yeah,
granted, these are only 8 replacements total. So
technically it's 4 because I mean we're only doing 4 that were mentioned.
True.
The other 4 are all made up.
just our hopes
Or
and
are they?
dreams.
Or are they? So obviously I wanted to do an iconic character. Iconic character to me. Iconic director, iconic era. I'm talking late 80s, John McTiernan, Predator. Now, if you were born like, I don't know, I guess probably like maybe in the late, I don't know. I feel like people maybe have seen this movie, but Predator obviously is about an alien in the jungle.
It's a great movie.
A lot of Colombian cocaine involved. Just like it's actually kind of like a bacon meter in this case because cocaine is like one Kevin Bacon away from the person who was replaced. And that person is none other than Jean-Claude Van Damme. Jean-Claude Van Damme, yes, was
So-
replaced as the Predator.
I don't understand. Okay, hold on. So Jean-Claude Van Damme was supposed to play Arnold Schwarzenegger's character.
No. Jean-Claude Van Damme was supposed to be... That's right. That's right. Jean-Claude Van Damme was supposed to be the Predator, the monster, the alien in Predator. He was the title. He was the titular character. So that to me was insane.
Oh fuck. Okay, so
Yeah.
was this before they realized that they could have got anybody to be in that suit?
So obviously, the story basically goes. I just wish we had like the little like noise, like the I'm having a thought. Anyway, Jesus Christ. But yeah, so Predator replaced Jean-Claude Van Damme as Predator. That's how I have it. Obviously, yeah, like you're right. This is one of the most outrageous replacements I've ever heard of, considering a man in a rubber suit replaced a badass martial artist. It just didn't make sense to me. I was like, how is Jean-Claude Van Damme, first of all, even cast? Because as we've seen the movie, that costume is not able to do the shit that Jean-Claude Van Damme does. I
Yeah.
mean, the guy does splits on like bathroom walls. It's ridiculous.
He does splits for a living. Literally, he does splits for a living.
He literally does splits for a living. But yeah, so basically the story goes, it was John McTiernan's actually first like big production movie. And Schwarzenegger was obviously involved. The studio wanted to make like a action movie, another action movie, because he had just come off Commando. And they ended up getting John McTiernan to make the movie. It was always going to be a monster movie, like a sci-fi action movie. So Van Damme was just like he was like no one, honestly. He was a big martial artist, and he was like auditioning for a lot of parts. Finally, they actually cast him as the monster, as the Predator. He was cast as Predator. Now, when John McTiernan had come up with the concept of the Predator alien, he was supposed to be like a ninja-like character, very like humanoid.
Huh.
And even when Van Damme was like, trying out for it, they told him he was going to be a leotard. He was going to have half human, half animal makeup on. It was going to be very minimal. It's just going to be like leotard involved, right? So he's like, oh, perfect. I could do all my like karate moves. I don't know.
I feel like went back to your 10 years old and you're just like, I know karate.
Yeah, exactly. His taekwondo. I don't know what he does. But his martial arts, right? But it's funny enough that when the obviously they saw the suit, and it really was big, bulky, ridiculous looking rubber suit that when they actually received it, Arnold basically said it looked like a guy in a lizard suit with the head of a duck. It looked awful.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
You'll have to look it up, and people that are listening will have to look at what it actually looks like, because it's fucking ridiculous. But they still had planned to do the whole invisibility effect, and Van Damme, which this must just have been the cocaine, honestly. I don't know if he was even into cocaine that deep back then, but he thought that because obviously we're filming in a jungle, can't use a green screen because you'll disappear, but not in a good way.
Everything's green.
Like, yeah, exactly. They obviously used a red suit to add that like invisibility effect. Van Damme thought the red suit was the alien. Like that's like
what?
He thought like the red suit green screen was the alien before the actual costume had even arrived, because they were fitting him for like the invisibility scenes.
Oh, what a fucking idiot.
And he thought he was going to be a big part of the movie, and a lot of the crew that helped like get him in his like outfits and stuff, they thought that like he had been told everything. So whenever he was saying like, "Oh, I'm not going to be in the movie," they're like, "Yeah, dude, you're invisible for basically the entire movie. Like, you're not going to be seen ever."
Oh, wow.
So
that
yeah,
sucks.
so finally, like shit arrives. The suit is awful. It's all poorly designed, and like on like hills and stuff in like jungle, because they filmed in a jungle in Mexico. It's not Colombia. Sorry, guys. They basically were telling Van Damme to do like this ridiculous stuff, and he was like, "I'm going to break my legs if I do this. Like, I know what I can handle, and I know what it can do in here." Long story short, kind of production just fell through because they were trying to shoot with this suit, and no one could take it seriously. Everyone thought it was really stupid, and basically the studio shut it down for a while. And it's funny because Van Damme actually only spent 2 days on actual set, and according to Arnold and basically every other actor, they said he complained all the time, like he was such a diva. And they were like, "Dude, you're like no one. Who the fuck are you?" You know.
Wow.
But yeah, so Van Damme supposedly quit shortly after due to concerns of safety, but there's no one knows if he was actually fired, if he was if he quit. My thing was if he maybe took too much cocaine. That was my thing. Kind of like James Remar. I'm glad you got that, because I don't know if you saw that while you were looking up your thing about James Remar.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll tell you, I guess, later. So they shut down production. They eventually hired Stan Winston, which ended up making all the dinosaurs, Jurassic Park, Terminator, all that good shit. And he basically created the Predator we all know and love. And actually, I don't know if this is true, but James Cameron is kind of credited to coming up with the Predator, because him and Stan Winston were on the same flight, a la Vega Brothers.
Oh.
And he was like, "You know what monster we've never seen before? Something with mandible." And that's how the Predator was born, and the Predator replaced Jean-Claude Van Damme. Which, funny enough, before we end this, a producer for B movies that starred Chuck Norris and a couple other guys thought Van Damme was actually in the movie because he had heard that he was part of production. He actually never saw the movie, and he just thought he hired him because he thought Van Damme was like the Predator. So even though Van Damme hated doing the movie, inadvertently it helped launch his career. I mean, not a good career, but he's famous.
A career that pays the bills.
Exactly.
Wow, that's crazy. I can't even. The Predator in the movie is so good.
Yeah.
I can't imagine it being stupid. Because, like, so did they have to, like, reshoot some stuff?
They only shot like a couple like test scenes, so really they basically had to still shoot the entire movie that involved Predator scenes.
Wow, that's that's crazy.
Yeah, I thought this was like the article was amazing that I read, and I wanted to talk all about this because it was probably one of the coolest things ever. All I was missing was Van Damme was doing lines off of like the laser cannon or something.
Oh man, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. So thoughts on
I think
Jean-Claude.
yeah, I think if it was done well, it could have been cool, but it also runs that risk of being a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. You know what I mean?
But this is before Jean-Claude Van Damme was Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I know, but look, if you look back on him and he was in Predator, you're like, oh, that was just another Jean-Claude Van Damme movie.
That's true. It's like up there with what's Time Cop? Isn't that what he is? Time Cop?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so wait, and he was in Street Fighter too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he was.
Okay. So I don't know. I feel like if Jean-Claude Van Damme had done this movie, maybe he would have been like an Arnold.
Maybe I don't know about that.
Really? I mean, he's foreign as fuck, but so is Arnold.
He's foreign, but he's got. Oh, okay.
Although, dude, all those guys are foreign. I mean, fucking Dolph Lundgren, all those fucks.
Dolph Lundgren. God.
Which, by the way, he has a master's in engineering, so don't sleep on him.
It's not a doctor. I'll put it that way.
He got into MIT, just saying.
Yeah, I think it's an awful idea. It's an awful idea. I'm trying to justify it, but no, I would not have wanted Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Even if he was in the iconic Predator suit. Because technically it's not Jean-Claude Van Damme, it's the Predator. Because if it was his initial plan of, he's basically like Mac in The Nightman Cometh, like he's like half cat, half like Ninja Man, then I could see where I would look back and be like, damn, that was a bad Van Damme movie.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
AKA any Van Damme movie.
Yeah, if he's in the suit, I'm okay with it. In the actual, like the good suit, not the
good
leotard.
Good suit. Yeah,
half cat, half man. So, John.
Kevin.
We all know about the iconic 80s movie starring Eddie Murphy as Axel Foley.
Ooh.
Beverly Hills Cop.
I was going to say Strike, but continue.
Action comedy. But what if I were to tell you that it could have been Axel Foley, the action star?
Ooh. I don't know. Well, there's a lot of action stars. Was it Van Damme?
It was not Van Damme.
Okay.
So
pretty sure they do cocaine in the movie. That's basically his.
So just imagine if Eddie Murphy, classic, amazing comedian, was replaced by 80s action star Sylvester Stallone.
Ah, you sly devil, you. That's the complete opposite of anything I would ever imagine. It's like replacing Daniel Day-Lewis with like Arnold.
It is. Because Eddie Murphy is flawless in that movie. It's such a funny 80s, like it's like the 80s movie after, a couple, like Terminator and stuff like that.
I mean, by the way, shout out to us for like really killing the 80s last week and this week.
Yeah. Beverly Hills Cop is one of those movies that when I see it on TV, I will stop and watch it. If I'm flipping through the channels, I'm stopping to watch it. But
now, are you a number one purist, or do you dabble with the sequels?
I like the second one. The third one's a little.
It's trash.
It's yeah. The second one was good.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough.
You sound like you're judging me on that.
No, I'm not. I just wanted your take on it. But
Okay.
continue with your story.
Okay. So initially, Stallone was offered the role of Axel Foley, and he was the studio's first choice. And the script was pretty much what it was when Eddie Murphy was doing it.
Whoa. I'll let you. I'll leave my questions till the end of the class.
So
Continue.
for some reason, somebody thought that Stallone could play a comedic genius, apparently. So he actually didn't think that he could play the part. He took the job.
Sly was self-aware.
He was. Yeah, he was.
That's good.
So instead of declining to do the role, he decided to rewrite the entire movie. Which he did.
Wait, Sylvester Stallone rewrote the movie himself?
He rewrote the entire movie.
Sylvester Stallone did.
Yes. Somewhere out there,
What did it look like?
somewhere out there, there's
What
a
did
script.
the letters look like? What did
I want to read that Stallone Beverly Hills Cop script. Because it probably makes Axel Foley look so awesome. So
and then he entered.
and then he's like, I am the law from
Yeah.
Detroit.
He entered police department.
So he rewrote the entire movie and turned it into like a classic 80s action movie. Axel Foley. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I'd fuck with either option at this point.
I know it sounds all right.
Okay,
But so apparently his agent read the script and was like, this is really fucking good.
oh wow.
Like apparently his script was
That's
amazing.
surprising.
Yeah. So he took it to the director, to the writer or the producer of the movie and was like, I can't make the movie that you signed me on for, so I rewrote the script. Yeah, we're doing this. And the studio's like, no, we're gonna do it the way we want it. And his agent begged him to just do the movie how it was written, because they thought it could be something big.
Yeah.
And Stallone's like, no, I can't. Like, comedically, I can't do it. So
Right.
eventually he backed out of the role, and it was offered to Eddie Murphy, and he took it. We all know what he did with it.
Right.
But so Stallone left the movie to do a movie called Rhinestone, which I've never heard of,
Ooh, yeah, that's a bad move.
starring Sylvester Stallone and Dolly Parton.
Oh,
And they came out right around the same time, and Beverly Hills Cop fucking destroyed the box office. It was like $124 million at that time, which is crazy for a comedy. And Stallone's was a huge, epic flop.
yeah,
Right, like, I've never heard
3.7
of
on IMDb, by the way.
Yeah, terrible.
3.7.
Terrible rated movie.
So I'm going to throw this at you before you continue. I feel like they should have compromised. You know, the world's all about compromise. We could have had a Sly, Eddie Murphy, action comedy team up movie.
I'd be okay with that. I'd be okay with Sly replacing fucking Neil from the Santa Claus.
Ooh, I would be good with that too. In fact, this would have probably been better than Lethal Weapon.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, come on.
I'm not a huge Lethal Weapon fan.
I know you're not.
I'm not
That's fine.
I'm not a huge Mel Gibson fan in general.
Judge Reinhold, by the way. That's his name.
Neil
Judge.
from Santa Claus?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, what are your thoughts? So I'm like, a Beverly Hills Cop action movie with Stallone sounds cool. And apparently the script was really good. So I'm like, man, I kind of want that. But also, Eddie Murphy in Beverly Hills Cop is amazing. I can't even imagine him not playing Axel Foley.
Yeah, it'd be really weird. I mean, the compromise of this is like almost like a two-part thing. Like you kind of did like two for me right now. I just realized it. Like who replaced who, but then who could have replaced Judge Reinhold was Sylvester Stallone.
That's a honorable mention.
Yeah, that is an honorable mention. I mean, I'm 100% down for this. That sounds fucking awesome.
So you're saying you would want an Eddie Murphy Stallone partner cop comedy movie?
I actually think that they should redo Beverly Hills Cop at this point and recast it with Sly. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of things about this I like there, and it's funny because it's almost like, in a way, Sylvester Stallone would be replacing himself if you were to replace Judge Reinhold. Kind of like Christian Bale replacing himself as Patrick Bateman in none other than American Psycho. And by the way, nailed that transition.
Nice.
Yeah, so funny enough, Christian Bale actually replaced himself, Kevin, as Patrick Bateman.
This
in American
sounds
Psycho.
like some Inception type shit. Like he went into his own dream and was like, you need to take this role.
Yeah. So, so funny enough, this technically is true.
Oh, shit.
Christian Bale did actually replace himself as Patrick Bateman in American Psycho. However, I did leave out one caveat. After that, he was actually cast in the role. None other than 90s heartthrob Leonardo DiCaprio was supposed to star in American Psycho as Patrick Bateman. Now, this is 90s Leo, which, as you can remember, was quite boyish.
When did American Psycho come out? It was like early 2000s, right?
Early 2000s,
Okay.
but production was started in the late 90s.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah. So, American Psycho director Mary Harron had already cast Bale in the role. She had done a ridiculous search trying to look for him. But yeah, she finally landed him.
Wait,
And
what do you mean look for him? She's like, get Christian Bale on the phone. They're like, I can't find him.
No, look for a lead actor.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of people auditioned. She eventually landed on Bale. But it was funny, interestingly enough, Bale's agent and other people close to him had said that the role would be career suicide because when the book American Psycho came
Wait
out,
a
it was
minute.
very what?
It's a book?
Yeah.
I feel like we have one of these every fucking podcast. I did not know it was a book.
Yeah, it was a book.
Don't tell me it
But
was
it-
written by Stephen King. Don't fucking
It
tell
was-
me.
It was not written by Stephen King. I don't know who it was written by, but yeah, again, a classic movie that we thought was original. Not, it's a book.
Huh.
So kind of crazy there.
That's
But yeah,
disappointing.
so when the book came out, there was a lot of I guess there were social justice warriors even back then.
Oh, wow.
They were basically saying it's too misogynistic, the main character beats women and mutilates them, which is true, but I mean that it's a serial killer. It's like a black comedy, right? But yeah, so that actually excited Christian Bale even more. He's like, I gotta do this movie. But like all stories, there was one antagonist that didn't like where this was going. Lionsgate, which was the studio behind it, or production company, I guess, was not keen on losing money. They wanted to be a bigger movie and thus a bigger star, international star. So they basically decided it was Leonardo DiCaprio. And it's funny because Lionsgate actually sent Leo a script and a $20 million offer, to which he agreed. And the director had said, at least now from when she was referring to back in the day, that the studio would have taken basically almost anybody over Bale.
Wow. Wow.
But at the time when Lionsgate had offered Leonardo DiCaprio $20 million offer, director nor Christian Bale even knew this entire ordeal had transpired.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So
Jesus.
during the 1998 Cannes Film Festival, which both were a part of, Lionsgate had announced the casting of Leonardo DiCaprio,
Fuck.
which completely surprised Christian Bale. He was like, "Wait a minute, I thought I was cast in the role." So
Imagine him.
obviously-
He's just like, did I dream that? And
It's
then he just
basically like
rolls
the
with it. He's
Zoolander.
like, he just rolls with it. He's like, I guess I never did have the role.
I guess I never really did sign the contract. But yeah, so obviously the director was pissed, and she didn't like him for the role because you got to think about it. Like I said, Leonardo DiCaprio during the 90s, he was like a boy. He was the heartthrob for the tweens of the 90s. Little girls liked him, right?
Yeah.
Creepy enough to say. But yeah, so Mary Harron didn't like him for the role because, ironically enough, she thought he couldn't pull off an asshole Wall Street type.
Oh,
which
wow.
he obviously killed him. But I mean, that's obviously like 20 years later.
Yeah.
But yeah, so because of like her uproar about it, she said, she wanted bail. Lionsgate pushed her out and bail. They're like, we don't need you guys. So Leonardo DiCaprio was offered by Lionsgate to choose a director. He had a short list, and none of the directors really available, but Oliver Stone ended up attached to American Psycho. So Oliver Stone directed Leonardo DiCaprio movie, was in the works, but neither Oliver Stone nor Leonardo DiCaprio can see eye to eye creatively. So Leo ended up leaving, and speaking of Sylvester Stallone, kind of move, Leo ended up making a movie called The Beach, which I'd never heard of.
I've never heard of that movie.
Yeah. So he kind of went the same way with a poor choice as far as a project is concerned. But it's funny because the director Harron and Bale had been talking on the phone this entire time. And Christian Bale didn't take any projects for 9 months because he was confident Leo wasn't going to make a movie. So he like stayed during this entire time, like unemployed. He's like, we're going to make this movie. I know it's going to happen. But yeah, the Lionsgate eventually, they begrudgingly hired back the director and Christian Bale. But their one caveat was they had a max budget of $10 million, and they had to hire recognizable actors like Reese Witherspoon, Willem Dafoe, and Jared Leto.
Wow.
Yeah. And then obviously it was a huge success, and the Lionsgate has been apologizing to this woman forever since then.
It's hard to believe, like pushing all that aside, that Jared Leto was like forced on this director. It sucks. Because I love him in that movie.
I know, he's so good.
And I love Christian Bale in that movie. I can't imagine, even though Leo is an amazing actor and he probably would have killed it, I can't even imagine him as Patrick Bateman.
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. Because his was like, I wouldn't even say like Christian Bale was like an asshole Wall Street type. He was more like a creepy Wall Street
He was like
type.
a psychopath, narcissistic asshole,
but not in the way like what the fuck is his name? Jordan Belfort. That Leo played,
Yeah. Because, like on the outside, everyone loved Patrick Bateman, and when he was alone with people, he was fucking creepy. So I can't imagine Leo doing that, because it's so different than Wolf of Wall Street. Even though it's like the same type of role, kind of the same type of role, I guess. Yeah,
I guess it is. But I mean, the fact that the guy just kind of like stuck around, and this role was basically, like they always say, if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. This guy stuck around.
That's a true actor. That's some Daniel Day-Lewis shit.
I've always said Christian Bale is a true actor. I mean, the guy basically morphs his body into putty, and then he's like, what kind of role do you want me to do? And I'll starve myself or I'll become fat as fuck. It doesn't matter with this guy.
He really is, and it really shows, because I've never seen a bad Christian Bale movie. Apparently there's a Leo one out there.
Yeah, apparently there's I feel like there's a bad Christian Bale movie.
What?
I know. I don't know if you could consider this a Christian Bale movie, but Reign of Fire. That's not a good movie.
Yeah, I guess you could consider it a Christian Bale movie.
I mean, he is in it. And he's more of a prominent role in it.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's the main character, but he's pretty in it. Oh,
I know another one. Exodus, Gods and Kings, the Bible.
Oh, shit.
He's Moses. Yeah, that's not a good movie.
Fuck. Well, there goes my theory.
Yeah, I mean, aside from that, yeah, he's basically been in like only good movies. It's kind of weird because Leo is a great actor, but I feel like a lot of his characters could have been played by other people. But like he can't play like very like focused characters. Like he can play a character and kill it. But he could play like a character that anyone could essentially, not anyone, but
Any good actor could play.
any good actor could play.
Yeah, I could see that.
I
could
mean,
see-
is that a false argument? I don't know.
No, I could definitely see that. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Because he doesn't really step out of his comfort zone, at least in my opinion. It's like nothing is crazy different that he's been in.
No. I will, however, say one role that couldn't really be replaced is one you're about to tell me.
Okay. So I'm about to bring up the most realist fucking wizard, and anybody can debate me on this. It's fucking Dumbledore. Debate me on it all day. It's fucking Dumbledore.
As the most, what did you say? The most wizard of wizards?
The
Or
most
wizardess?
badass wizard.
Okay. Gandalf, though. I don't know.
No, Dumbledore. All day.
Saruman.
No. Never, man. So
I don't know. Gandalf. I don't know. Anyway, good.
fuck Gandalf. So this one is no secret. We all know that Dumbledore was replaced because the actor that played him died in 2002. So he was in the
fucking
first. Richard Harris was in the first two movies. And in my opinion, especially after reading the books, which I didn't read until after I saw the movies, probably the worst casting ever is Richard Harris as Dumbledore.
Oh, that's a hot take. A lot of people liked him,
I hated him. I don't
but
think
those first two movies are trash, personally.
the movies are trash, but the Dumbledore in the movie, those two movies, is not like the Dumbledore in the book. Because in the book, Dumbledore is like a fucking badass, like the most amazing wizard, and that Dumbledore is like
Dying.
decrepit.
Literally.
Yeah. So he died of cancer in 2002. And interestingly enough, Ian McKellen was tapped to play Dumbledore. He was pursued by the studio to replace Richard Harris as Dumbledore. But Ian McKellen was not interested, not because he was already Gandalf in Lord of the Rings, but because he knew Richard Harris personally, and Richard Harris did not like Ian McKellen. In fact, he said that he is.
Can we delve a little bit deeper into this Ian McKellen, Richard Harris drama?
Yeah. I'll get into that.
Okay, all right.
So
cool.
Harris was in an interview, and they were asked about McKellen. I guess they had worked together on some plays in England.
Jolly old England.
So Harris says he's brilliant but passionless as an actor. So basically saying he's fucking trash as an actor.
That's like saying, like, you got a small dick in the actor world.
Yeah, it is. So
Damn. He's like, yeah, he's got a penis, but it's small.
yeah.
He acts, but it's not good. It's passionless.
It's there.
Yeah.
So yeah, McKellen didn't like this. He brushed it off.
So he was doing like a Tupac Nas wizard rivalry.
Yeah.
essentially.
It was like East Coast, West Coast. When he was asked in an interview about Dumbledore, that's kind of when it came out that McKellen was asked to play Dumbledore.
Okay.
So they were talking about Lord of the Rings, and he was like, McKellen says, yeah, I played a real wizard. And the host kind of elaborates on it because he did not like Harris. Harris didn't like him. And he says, I could have played Dumbledore. And the host is like, what do you mean? And it was kind of left at that. He didn't really elaborate on it. But it was kind of speculated that Harris didn't approve of McKellen's lifestyle as a gay man.
Okay.
Which is hilarious because Dumbledore is gay. And he didn't know this. So, after all that, Dumbledore actually gets replaced by Michael Gambon, or Mike Gambon. And
The least Dumbledore name ever, honestly.
Yeah.
Like Richard Harris, that's like a Dumbledore name. Like Michael Gambon, that guy's like sounds like a fucking Italian guy.
Hey, Gambon, Gambon, get the
Yeah.
fuck over here. Yeah. Yeah. So apparently, Gambon and McKellen constantly get asked for each other's autographs. So McKellen apparently just signs Dumbledore pictures all fucking day.
That is fucking awesome.
So I kind of have a twofer here. So what are your thoughts on the first Dumbledore and the Dumbledore that actually replaced him, Michael Gambon?
I like Michael Gambon a lot. He definitely gives a kind of a swagger to Dumbledore. Like he's just like so like wise, but at the same time he's like he's a pimp. He's like seriously a pimp.
Because in the movies and in the books, he's like, he's a badass, but he's also funny, and he's got that don't
And
fuck with
endearing.
me attitude.
And endearing.
Yeah.
He's like sweet towards the Harry. Because like I'm thinking of Richard Harris' character, and all I could think of is when they're in the Great Hall. Is that what it's?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, where they all,
And he's just like he's got like his chin up, and he's just like all stiff and robotic. He's like, everyone must choose the hut. And like he's first of all, he looks like he's looking through like bifocals, like because he's got his chin up. He's reading the cue card. Like he's got his dialysis machine on the end of the room. This is awful. I'm sorry, Richard Harris, but
oh god.
but I mean, and he just has like that voice. He has like that dying voice. Whereas you got Michael Gambon, he's just like a pimp. He's just like, okay, we're doing this. I'm Dumbledore. I don't know.
Probably one of the best Dumbledore impressions I've ever heard in my life. So good.
He's got a lot of shit to do. He doesn't have time to just,
They're just like Dumbledore. Somebody put Harry's name in the Triwizard Cup, and he's like, I'm Dumbledore. And they're like, okay, I guess he's Dumbledore. We can't talk to him.
I mean, it's funny that you say that because I'm thinking of the exact scene when in Goblet of Fire, where they put the name and the name comes up, right, and Dumbledore's there,
And he's fucking pissed.
and he's like, Harry Potter. Like, can you see like? I could imagine Richard Harris. He's just trying to catch the little leaflet flying around.
He's still trying. He's like jumping up, like trying to catch it.
not jumping. He's just like looking up. His hands are like waving. There, he's quivering, and the paper falls to the ground. A kid needs to like pick it up and hand it to him. Like that's already like an extra 2 or 3 minutes on the movie, which, as we know, Harry Potter movies are.
They're
quite
already
long.
They're already pretty long.
Like I don't need Richard Harris. Like just fucking around for an extra 2 minutes. So in answer to your
God. I could just imagine like the paper coming out of the cup and like landing on Richard Harris's hand, and his hand just like fucking shattering. Like he's so old and frail that it just
Oh my
fucking
God.
kills him.
But yeah, I mean, like all the action scenes that we got, like in Half-Blood Prince, and just in like Order of the Phoenix, I can't see like if he was still alive, there's no way he could have pulled that off. Because I will say Michael Gambon is Dumbledore to me. I completely forget about Richard Harris. He's just got swagger, man. He's got wizard swagger.
He does, and it's like effortless for him.
He's honestly probably like the coolest dude in Harry Potter, because Harry Potter's kind of a bitch. And even though he's powerful, like he doesn't know how to use his power. And I mean, I like Hermione a lot. Ron sucks.
Ron's just
And-
like a whatever character.
He really is. And then like even like Malfoy and stuff. Like I think Lucius Malfoy is fucking hilarious. That's just me. I don't know
such
why.
a good casting.
Jason Isaacs as Malfoy is. I love Jason Isaacs. I know we're getting off topic here, but on the whole, great casting with Michael Gambon. I'm 100% in on that replacement, even if he wouldn't have died. Before we close this up, favorite Harry Potter.
Prisoner of Azkaban.
What is a good one?
Because I love Gary Oldman. He's so good. And I love when they
really
introduce
good.
him.
He is really good. But no, I was about to say Snoke. No Voldemort. I personally, Order of the Phoenix is probably my favorite one because we get that epic fucking battle between Voldemort and Dumbledore, which is like the coolest shit ever.
That is, that's probably my favorite scene in the Harry Potter universe ever.
Yeah,
I
wish Harry Potter died in like a battle, and then it was just because the final face-off between Voldemort and Harry Potter is so anticlimactic.
It's whatever. Yeah, it's nothing
Yeah.
cool. The
So,
Dumbledore
yeah.
Voldemort battle is way better than any battle in the entire movie, but especially better than the payoff battle where Harry kills Voldemort. It's like way better than that.
Oh, totally, 100%.
Shit.
So, from Voldemort, because I love Voldemort. I think Ralph Fiennes is amazing, and I think he's amazing in the movie.
So good.
And as Voldemort, I also thought that he would be amazing for another iconic villain. Ray Fiennes has always been a great villain. I mean, he was awesome, and well, not awesome, but he was evil as fuck in Schindler's List. He's evil as fuck and amazing as Voldemort and Harry Potter. I think he would be equally as amazing as none other than Superman's nemesis, Lex fucking Luthor. Ralph Fiennes as Lex Luthor, replacing Jesse Eisenberg, maybe bring a little bit more semblance into the Batman v Superman / Justice League franchise.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a really good pick.
Yeah. So I mean, everyone is older except for Jesse Eisenberg. Henry Cavill is older. Ben Affleck's older. Gal Gadot is older. We have them squaring off against this kid, and I can't stand it. So I thought putting in an older, wiser, badass guy, businessman, ruthless fuck that Lex Luthor is, I feel like Ray Fiennes would kill that. He already has like I said, proven track record of being a badass villain, and he'd be way more of an imposing figure compared to Jesse Eisenberg. Okay.
Yeah. I feel like Jesse Eisenberg is very miscast in the movie. Not granted that I think he's a good actor, but he's not good in the movie, and he seems out of place. I could
Agreed.
see Ray Fiennes just being that daunting like mastermind. Like you never look at Jesse Eisenberg and say like that's a fucking criminal mastermind. You never do that. You look at
No.
Ray Fiennes and be like that's fucking Voldemort. And
Seriously, that's it. That's fucking Voldemort.
yeah.
Now, Voldemort with a shitload of cash and a hatred for Superman, sign me up.
I'm all in for that.
Yeah.
I even like the idea of a crossover.
Wait, Voldemort?
Voldemort
Harry
is
Potter?
now he's come back. He had like an 8th Horcrux that we didn't know about. Came back. Now he's
Which
in
was a necktie.
it was a necktie that he has to wear. And it's like a duck one too.
Oh, totally.
So
Totally.
it's like
one of those like 90s patterns, Argyle fucking.
yeah. So he's got to wear this fucking tie around while he's doing business deals and while he's masterminding the demise of Superman and Batman. I could see that being something.
Wait, but is Voldemort in this scenario, is he just like over Harry Potter? He's like, whatever, I don't fuck with England anymore. I'm in America now.
Yeah, I think he's moved on to bigger and better things. Like Harry's grown up. Harry's doing,
married, got a kid. I would think that his ultimate goal is to destroy any sort of legacy of Harry Potter. Or like fuck off with wizards, like there's like aliens flying around in the sky. Then he's like, "Ooh, I need to take that down."
I don't think
Or Voldemort is trying to harness the power of Superman
oh
so that way he can defeat
fuck.
Harry Potter.
Dude, that is a movie and a fucking half right there.
Yep. Guys, let us know what you think about Harry Potter and the Superman crossover.
I would be fine if nobody else from the Harry Potter world is in the movie. It's just Voldemort, like, moved on to America.
I would be, and then he gets to wear that sharp black suit that we see in that nightmare sequence.
Yeah.
When he was on the platform on 93 quarters.
Yeah.
Where he's just looking like a badass. He's cracking his neck in a sharp, all black suit, black shirt, black tie, black jacket, all black with that white dome of a head.
Okay, so I feel like you thought about yours a lot more than I did. I'm still
Honestly,
all
I
in
had
on
3
my
bullet points. I had 3 bullet points.
I have 0. I'm just going off the top.
Okay.
So this was the one that I thought of immediately when we started talking about this, and my brain goes immediately to the Star Wars prequels.
Ooh.
And like, I'm going to tell you right now, it's not Jar Jar Binks. Granted, he could have been replaced, but like, who are you going to replace him with? He is who he is.
Right. With nothing. Replace him with no one.
Yeah. So the worst part of the movie for me was Hayden Christensen's acting and delivery in the last 2 prequels. Awful.
Yeah.
It's bad. I don't even know why they cast him, because he looks like a bitch. I need to have that Samuel L. Jackson sound clip where it's like, does he look like a bitch? And I'll say, yes, he does look like a bitch.
that would have been quite appropriate for right now. Yeah, I agree, man. It's really sad when you look at that guy and you're like, he's going to be the most badass villain of all time.
Right. So I'm looking back and I'm like, I'm thinking of an actor who is one of the most underrated actors, and it's Ben Foster. Ben Foster.
Oh man. Okay, so I did not know who you were going to say. I fucking like that.
Ben Foster is such a great actor, and he is so underrated and underutilized in every movie. And
100%.
That's why I love 3:10 to Yuma so much, is because Ben Foster kills it in that movie. I feel like
he's an amazing villain in that.
He is like truly evil in that movie, and you kind of see that and you're like, damn, he could have killed Anakin Skywalker, because in the second one he's kind of a bitch, and he's like getting into the whole Sith stuff. And it was just I was not buying it for Hayden Christensen. Not buying it.
No, not at all.
And I feel like Ben Foster could have done that so much better.
Yeah, and it pains me because, like, for me, one of the best parts of the prequels is Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah.
Or the Chancellor. And all the good... Because I was actually watching Revenge of the Sith recently, and by the way, it's good. I'll just say I enjoy it.
It's good. Yeah, that's my favorite of the 3 prequels.
Yeah. Oh, totally. But like, there's these moments that he's just so electric in. Huh? No pun intended. And then like Hayden Christensen's just like a mannequin.
Like
He's
a wet sponge. Yeah.
Yeah. Worse, he had a dry sponge, one that you can't even fucking use.
Yeah.
You know? Like, so, I mean, he's just there, and I could totally see Ben Foster just playing off that. Fuck. Dude, and that's crazy, because, like, I wish I had this one, because I'm obviously a huge Star Wars fan. But I couldn't, I wouldn't know who to replace Hayden Christensen with, and that is a fucking amazing pick. I love it.
Thank you. I love Ben Foster, and I went back when I knew that I was going to do this one.
Yeah, how was Ben Foster back in the early 2000s?
So
Because I know he was on 6 Feet Under, and he was not cool at all.
Yeah, he was on 6 Feet Under. He was doing X-Men, the third X-Men.
Ooh.
He was in
That's a bad one.
Hostage.
Okay.
So he wasn't in a lot of stuff. He was in The Punisher as well.
Oh, yeah.
So not really good stuff, but knowing what I know now, like, he's an amazing actor.
Yeah, I guess
given all the
wasn't just
shit that he
given
was in.
Yeah, I don't think he was given like the proper outlet, I guess, to
Yeah.
really be good. Yeah, no, totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Dude, I like it. I like it. He definitely can have that nice transition from like kind of like good and innocent to just like straight up. Like I'm just thinking of like in the scenes in Revenge of the Sith where he's just cutting down people
Yeah.
and he's like really evil. Fuck, that would have been good. And then like when Padme shows up, he kind of has like that goodness in him, but he's like excited to tell her, but he just like basically excited to tell her he did all this evil shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I could totally see that from Ben Foster and just being like, I don't understand why you don't like want to do this with me.
Yeah.
Fuck, god damn, dude, that's oh man. As a huge star, as a huge Star Wars fan, like that is an amazing cast. They need to now use him for something. I don't care.
Ben Foster needs more roles in Hollywood in
does.
general.
Totally, 100%.
Yeah.
So, speaking of Star Wars, as how I prefaced it in the beginning of the episode about Ewan McGregor, I have chosen Ewan McGregor to be my next James Bond. Now, considering we may not get him in the Obi-Wan spinoff, Moment of Silence, I would at least like for him to be in one of my favorite franchises. James Bond is like near and dear to my heart. Obviously, Pierce Brosnan's James Bond to me.
Right.
Daniel Craig I liked. But obviously, as we've talked about this before in like various iterations of the show, the franchise needs something fresh, something new, who's not sleepwalking like Daniel Craig, because Daniel Craig is legit. He's been asleep since like 2006.
I see them like dangling his paycheck above the scene, and he's just like acting for his paycheck. He's just like
Perks up.
yeah, yeah. That's kind of how I
Alright.
feel like he is. Yeah, that sounds like an amazing pick. I
So,
agree with that a little
okay,
bit.
let me continue trying to sell you even more.
Okay.
So, Ewan's obviously Scottish. Bring it back to the Connery days. Have an actual Scotsman play Bond. I think that would play amazingly. He's older, right? Like Ewan McGregor's older, but he still has that suavish charm that Daniel Craig never had, that Pierce Brosnan did. Daniel Craig was very rugged. Ewan McGregor, I feel like, can play both. He can be rugged, but he still's got that like you trust the guy. Like the guy's just fucking cool as a cucumber. You just like him. I think that he'd play it rather well. And we know he's awesome in like action. He's witty as fuck, because that's how he basically played Obi-Wan. Like Obi-Wan was awesome. He was badass, but at the same time, he was fucking hilarious. And he had like these ridiculous one-liners that were hilarious. Ewan McGregor pulled off just like dumb shit where he's like, hello there.
Yeah.
Or, oh, another happy landing or something like that. Like those are James Bond lines. Because if you think about the Pierce Brosnan movies, like Pierce Brosnan's always said like dumb shit, but it was fucking awesome / hilarious.
He always had like a pun or like a saying for something that happened. And
Yeah.
I could see Ewan McGregor doing that. I could definitely see that. I'm not out on him as 007, but there are other people that I like better than Ewan McGregor.
Okay. I didn't want to go with like two obvious picks. Like I looked up like actors that were replacing, you know, Daniel Craig as James Bond, and it's always the same. The Idris Elba's the number one.
Yeah.
Then we have like the Tom Hiddleston, and just none of those guys seem Bond to me. Maybe Idris Elba, but like Tom Hiddleston, I can't see. And like they had like Luke Evans, which I can't ever pick him because he's in the
No.
Fast franchise. Anyone in the
No.
Fast franchise should not be in a James Bond movie.
It shouldn't be in any movies.
Basically. Oh, but The Rock.
It should be like Tyrese and only do fast movies,
Exactly.
and then just kill off The Rock so we can do other stuff.
Oh yeah, totally. But what's it called? What the hell was I saying? But yeah, like of all this short list of like people that, you know, other fans and stuff would want to see, like nobody really just, and it was, I honestly did a lot of research on this one because this is the one that was the hardest pick for me. I was literally going on YouTube and looking up interviews with Ewan McGregor, how his normal voice sounds. I even looked up like the guy from Homeland, Quinn, and I was like, nope, he just doesn't have the sound. He doesn't have the sound.
I don't think I've heard Quinn's real voice.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, he sounds like normal, but he just doesn't sound like Bond.
But he's British.
And by the
right?
way,
he is British.
He's
right?
British.
Okay.
He's British. Like Damian Lewis was on there, and it
I
just
can't see
like,
Damian Lewis.
No, I told you, Damian Lewis is the villain. Would kill.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, and after, by the way, doing all this research, I realized I should have been a casting director in another life. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Ewan McGregor just spoke the most to me, only because maybe it's the Obi-Wan Kenobi syndrome I got that right now, but I can't see. I just know that he would kill it.
Yeah, I don't hate the pick, and I could easily be proved wrong, and he could be fucking amazing. He could be one tier above Pierce Brosnan, which it would be very hard. It would be very hard.
I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if that's possible.
But yeah, I like that pick. I like that pick as Ewan McGregor as James Bond.
Sweet.
So my last one is, I feel like you're not going to take this pick seriously.
Oh god.
So I'm
okay.
kind of embarrassed to say it. So
Okay.
my pick was Topher Grace in Spider-Man 3 as Venom. So
Well,
I know you can agree.
to replace.
Yeah.
I was like, he played Venom, dude,
Yeah.
and that's an awful pick. We all know how that happened.
So Topher Grace is terrible as Venom. He doesn't even fit the profile that
As Eddie Brock.
Eddie Brock, yeah.
Yeah.
So he was probably the worst choice they could have picked, because he was like fresh off that 70s show.
Yeah.
It was like just ending, and it was like, oh, this is Eric Foreman. That's cool.
Yeah.
And that, which is probably what made Spider-Man 3 such a bad movie, minus the emo dancing scene.
Oof. Yeah.
So
I feel like the studio had a lot of hand in that. So
probably, yeah, they probably did.
they Leonardo DiCaprio, Christian Bale, the director. Who's the director again? He's the guy who did.
It's not the guy who did the first two.
Yes, it is. It is
Oh, it's Sam Raimi then.
Sam Raimi. Yep.
Yeah.
I was like thinking Evil Dead, the guy who did Evil Dead.
So my pick to play Venom, and going back to that time period,
Okay, you're
Brock
scaring me.
Lesnar. Brock Lesnar as Venom. I'm not joking here. I feel like Brock Lesnar is the body type for. Why are you laughing?
I mean, continue. I'll have my.
I feel like Brock Lesnar. Granted, if he could pull off the acting portion of it, he's got the body type. Maybe a little more of the body type, but he's got the body type.
You basically just answered your own question as to why I was laughing. You said if he had the acting ability. That's
Well, we don't
That's
know.
the whole
He
point.
hasn't been in
dude.
anything.
Topher Grace could have gotten swole as fuck, and it still wouldn't have been right.
But I don't think Topher Grace is that good of an actor anyways.
And you think Brock Lesnar is?
No, but at least Brock Lesnar has the look of Eddie Brock.
Sure.
Eddie Brock, Brock Lesnar. It just fits.
Just like I hate Butterfingers, thus hating E.T.
No, I hate Reese's Pieces.
Reese's Pieces. Yeah.
And
Butterfinger is
that's the Simpsons thing.
That's the Simpsons, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like Brock Lesnar could have pulled it off. If we know, like, we don't know how his acting is. So I feel like if it was as good as Topher Grace's, if not a little bit better, he would have been perfect, because he's got the body type.
Perhaps, but how long did you actually think this through?
Pretty long.
my
I actually
question.
looked up a lot of stuff about this.
Okay. Okay. Nucky, you tell me your real pick.
That, I swear to God, it's Brock Lesnar.
Okay. I mean, you're correct. He does have the look, but I don't think he could be a better actor than Topher Grace. If I'm being 100% honest, like Topher Grace is bad. I don't like him at all. But he was in TV shows that required him to speak. So, I guess I don't know.
What about The Rock?
No.
You wouldn't-
No, I wouldn't be into it. I wouldn't be into it. He just doesn't have the. He just doesn't have. It, even before they cast Tom Hardy, I wouldn't even cast Tom Hardy because I was just like, maybe. But now I think Tom Hardy has but The Rock is just he's too big to be.
Well, Brock Lesnar is way bigger than him.
No. But I mean like
Oh, like
fame
Star-
wise.
Yeah. Okay.
Which, sorry to say, surpasses Brock Lesnar.
It does. Yeah, a little bit. Not by much, but a little bit.
So I'll throw this out there: if Dave Bautista wasn't Drax, I'd throw him in as Venom because that motherfucker is a giant.
I did think about that, but I went back to the time period 2007.
Yeah, Dave Bautista really,
and he's not.
True.
He's not doing anything. So I'm thinking like 2007, like who's a big wrestler, basically, because that's the body type that you need. Or
well, we all know what
ripped
happens.
as fuck.
We all know what happens when you cast a wrestler as a villain in a superhero movie. We get Burn from Batman and Robin. I don't know what wrestler that was, but that was a wrestler, and those were his lines. So I can't imagine that Brock Lesnar has a better capacity of acting than just saying Burn. I can't see it. I can't see him saying like legitimate lines, because if you know Venom in the comic, he's funny, he's witty, he's kind of like I wouldn't say he's like Star-Lord, but he's like kind of like a Chris Pratt character, but a villain.
Okay, I could,
but
yeah.
I wouldn't put Chris Pratt as Venom. If that makes sense. Like he's like Chris Pratt, but not Chris Pratt.
There needs to be a very specific look for Eddie Brock, and I don't think a lot of people have it, because it's like didn't he have a mustache, like a creepy mustache? I thought he did in the cartoons.
Maybe. I don't think so. No, in the cartoons he was just like, he looked kind of like Gary Busey. He's just like a white guy with like spiky blonde hair.
Brock Lesnar.
I suppose.
That's all you need. You're like casting director. I need white guy, spiky blonde hair, Brock Lesnar.
What if we had Brock Lesnar as like the guy in like the Venom suit? I could get down with that. Like how James Earl Jones isn't actually in the Darth Vader suit, but it's like some giant German dude. Like Brock Lesnar, if you look at like Brock Lesnar has lines in the behind the scenes footage of the Venom DVD where it's like, because obviously whoever plays the voice of Venom isn't there during those scenes, so it's just like Brock Lesnar's like, I kill Spider-Man. Like
you make him out to be like some fucking mongoloid creature.
If I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I've actually heard him speak. I've just seen him fight.
I don't think I have either.
So, as far as you know, I could be very close to what he sounds
You
like.
could be, yeah. But I can imagine that if he got the role in a movie, he would at least have lines that didn't make him sound completely mentally retarded.
Perhaps.
Like they're not gonna they're not gonna be like, oh, we cast Brock Lesnar, rewrite the whole thing, make him a fucking moron. We gotta make this look like Brock Lesnar knows what he's talking about, and it ain't much.
He has a voice coach to make him sound intelligent.
Not even an accent, just intelligent.
Yeah. You make me sound smart. Yeah, I like I said, if it was like a Darth Vader, like James Earl Jones, David Prowse situation, damn, I really pulled that one out of my ass. I was like, I know what his name is, but then we could have Brock Lesnar / who's the voice? I'm gonna put you on the spot right now before we wrap this up. Who would be your voice for Venom if we did the Brock Lesnar in the suit?
The voice for Venom. I feel like, okay, so I have to go back to 2007.
Okay.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Because it, like, if I'm remembering correctly from the cartoon, he didn't have like a bitch voice. He had like a manly, deep voice.
Yeah.
All I can think about is James Earl Jones.
I don't know if James Earl Jones would be appropriate, but I don't hate it. Yeah, 2007.
Or Morgan Freeman, maybe. How would that look?
Well, hello, Spider-Man. How are you? Something like that. Hey, Spider-Man, my name is Eddie Brock. I go to your same high school. Yeah, so I don't know, guys. What do you think? If you guys are all for the Brock Lesnar in a Venom suit situation, and I mean, who would your voice actors be? But that's definitely a difficult decision as to who. But I like the Brock Lesnar in the suit. But then when he's not in the suit, because obviously he's not in the suit, we'd have to have like an actor, I guess, that could be both voice and play as like Eddie Brock, and not as like giant Venom.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. So I guess it couldn't be Morgan Freeman, or it could.
Or it could.
That could be interesting.
We don't discriminate here.
Yeah. Let's go with Leonardo DiCaprio.
You know what? This might be his niche role that we just never thought would be something that he could play.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, guys, I think that pretty much marks it another solid new episode down the books. I mean, we got, Jean-Claude Van Damme being kicked out by a man in a rubber suit. We had Sly coming in, writing scripts, and replacing Judge Reinhold, but not really in our universe. Yeah, Christian Bale replacing himself. That seems like a method role. That's like a Christian Bale move.
Yeah,
like
where he's like,
himself. He like pretended to be another actor to replace Christian Bale, but he is that other actor. Christian Bale is Christian Bale.
What if he spent that whole 9 months just pretending to be Leo? And he's just like acting as Leo. He's like, I'm not interested in the role. And then hangs out, he's like waiting for the call.
Yeah, like Christian Bale's so addicted to the method acting that he like basically made himself look like a little boy. And Leonardo DiCaprio, that's commitment. But yeah, we had Richard Harris dying, Michael Gambon coming in as being Dumbledore, a swagger, powerful wizard, and then of course our picks. So let us know what your picks are. Hit us up on Twitter at Wicked Hot Talk. Right? That's our Twitter.
Yeah, that's the Twitter. Yeah,
Hot Talk. Jesus Christ. I have had a great time, Kevin. I don't know if you have anything else to say, but I think we're all set here.
Nope.
The replacements have been replaced, and we'll catch you guys next week on another episode of Wicked Hot. Later.
Bye, everybody.